back to the Muzzle Break podcast. I'm Josh, your host, and this week we have a guest from behind the audiovisual board. My production engineer, Peter. If anybody in the mob is looking for Peter and wants to kill him, he's here every Friday at 6.
Yep. You hear me all right, Lily?
Yeah, she can. And yeah, my beautiful wife is on the AV board tonight for us.
Whoa.
She puts up with all of my bullshit. It might be an interesting podcast because this is her first time running any of this stuff. There's only a couple of buttons, but it can get a little confusing if we talk back and forth. So I am going to talk about the upcoming trainings that we've got next month on July 5th and 6th, that weekend, July 5th and 6th weekend. I know that you might be busy, but come and join us with Evan Dixon from Radio Made Easy. We're going to do the Zero to Hero Radio Operators course. Come and learn how to develop your comms plan just in case you have to communicate on an off-grid situation. So we're going to have KJ, Kim Jenkins, is going to come here at the end on the 19th of July, and she's going to do an all-women's CCW course. I really highly recommend that you go onto our website, griffinarms.net, and sign up for both of those. So, hi, Peter.
Hi, Josh.
This is like open mic night.
Yeah. And
we can talk about whatever your little heart desires, because we basically stomp on you every week. Me and Brian just stomp on you, and now it's your turn. Brian's not here, so we get to it's free, you know.
I'm not going to stomp on anybody. No.
Why? I'm giving you a free opportunity to.
It's just boring.
No, it's not. It's the funny part
when
of
you're here, it's more fun.
Oh, yeah, when you're busting balls. It is. It is more fun. So what do you want to talk about this week?
Why you won't sell me that pistol?
Well, I've already told you I've denied multiple people, people that I respect more than you. I denied them that gun. So yeah. Anyways, so what do you want to talk about? What's going on this week with you, and like anything that you and I typically talk a lot of like theology and philosophy and stuff like that. So we could probably get into some of that.
I could say you and Brian always bring up current events. I'm exhausted with the current events.
Yeah, I mean it is hard with.
Do you care? I mean, I care, but do you really
Yeah, so I think
I don't know the right word.
I think it's good. I think it's good that that you need to take a break from these news cycles, because they do that stuff on purpose. They reporters are meant to
exhaust your patience.
Yeah, well, maybe not so much that, but they're meant to keep you on your toes and on constant. It's like an addiction. It's an information addiction. You know what I mean? Like they are the zins to your brain, essentially. So that's always like the hard thing with the news cycle, is breaking your mind from wanting to listen to that. I mean, Lily and I listen to that every morning. We like to listen to that, but then typically I get that kind of out of my system, and then I'm not really looking back to it. Yeah, I'm kind of not looking back to it though. Right. Like throughout the day, I might get the occasional, social
the phone
media
ruins me.
Yeah,
always clicking on an app, turn the alerts off, and like, oh, I wonder what, did something happen today? And then I read it, and then you're pissed off.
Why are you pissed off? Why are you pissed off?
No, yeah, I mean, some of the things people say when you read different things,
you get pissed off about people's opinions.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, like, everybody's going to have an opinion to piss you off. You got to look at the right places.
Right.
Like, so but it is kind of hard to, that's the other thing that happens, especially with the news cycles, is that they will turn it into a room, a sounding room where it's just all,
but echoes all day long.
Yeah, an echo chamber. That's probably the echo chamber of things. So then it's hard for you to have dialogue. I have lots of friends with varying opinions, and they don't always align with my own ideals or morality or anything like that. But I'm willing to have conversation with them, just for the fact of not getting into arguments with other people. You know what I mean? It's a temperance thing.
Right.
Like
we were talking
about
arguments.
What's that?
the things that go in my head, it always leads to the argument because they'll say something and I'm like, no,
yeah. Whoa.
I don't.
So you get bent out of
It's
shape.
civil, and then finally I'm like, you know what? Go pound sand because I'm bored.
So I think that it's a good exercise for people personally to have people in their lives that they don't agree with or line up with their worldview.
These people are crazy.
No, so I think sure there's people that are
they're
completely unreasonable and they're not going to listen to you about certain things, but there are people that are more like I would say that there are people more into the center of stuff that like even you and I would be considered too bifurcated to have a civil conversation with some people because we wouldn't give them enough breathing room to like kind of talk, right? But like here's the whole thing with stoicism or even just the ability to debate some idea with somebody is that you have to give them enough room and thinking time and not reactionary time so that when you make a point that they can actually stew on it. Did that person make a better point than I actually am making, or give them enough room that they can hear themselves speak and say, hey, there's always that like internal compass that says, hey, I'm kind of a dumbass here. You know what I mean? And then you have to deal with somebody's pride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe
like,
that's what I'm dealing with.
I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, they're dumb.
Well, I saw.
Silence is great. Sometimes they just don't say anything.
Yeah,
just kind of nod your head. Yeah.
You watch some of the greatest debaters, and they are very like Paul Kengor is a really good guy to talk about. He Hillsdale College. He's like is it Paul Kengor? Yeah, I think so. He's just really good about explaining something very calmly to people and then just giving like a lot of or Thomas Sowell, you know what I mean? Those guys talk and give big spaces of time for somebody else to develop a thought or whatever. I'm bad at that, but it makes me good at interviewing because I keep the conversation going.
I always call it, why are you angry? I'm like, no, it's passion.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what it is. It's not
and
drives people crazy because they're like, man, he's hyperactive.
Nuts. You are hyperactive and a little bit nuts.
Yeah,
but
that's what.
But fun. You're good natured. But you're good natured about it. And I think that's when you have conversations and you're communicating with person, the master of a conversation is the person that can get that other person talking in a conversation, right? So like if I talk to you, Peter, and I get you talking 90% of the time because I'm asking you questions about yourself or like I'm engaging you in things that you're interested in, like I've won the conversation. If you want to scale it that way, I've won the conversation because I've got you talking about yourself more than I've got me talking about myself. You know what I mean?
Right. I do that all day long.
Yeah, sure. So you're in sales, right?
Right.
And you're trying to glean the information that's going to provide a closing,
right, or solutions to whatever. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, you're kind of a hybrid salesman because you're kind of doing sales, but you're also kind of doing inventory management control or pricing, stock control.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah.
So what else do you want to talk about, Peter? We talked about communication skills. I think both both you and I are very good at communication. I think Brian's really good at communication. Brian's good about letting the room breathe and having the conversation. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
He'll open that. He must have tactically learned that in the military. You let the room breathe, where you push open the door so that if somebody's behind in the room, they're getting excited before, they'll play their hand before you play, and he's pretty good at that. You and I are pretty good at just like talking, just mounds of
it's great.
So carry on. What's going on in the Catholic Church? Is everybody happy about we can talk about some theology. You ask me questions of the world. Let's have a conversation about
I don't ask anybody, like the cradle Catholics, the older Catholics, the younger ones. I go to mass. I usually don't talk to anyone.
Why though?
I don't want to.
It's okay. Well, I can understand that, but like just for our audience sake, let's just talk about something that's on your mind, Peter, that concerns you about, I don't know, the world, culture, whatever. This is an open
I think it's kind of in the shitter.
invitation. It's always kind of been in the
Right.
shitter.
And I think now that I'm older, not that, I'm not that much older than you, but I remember my parents, I remember my grandparents saying the same thing. Look at these kids, look what they're wearing, look what they're doing, look what they're saying.
Sure.
So it's like, does it just keep going full circle over and over and over again?
For sure. I think, Solomon talks about that in Proverbs where nothing's new under the sun,
No.
and that we've got all of this, I think it's accelerated though.
Right.
Like if you look
it moves faster.
Yeah, 100% as we get more involved in the information boom of things, we've been in an information boom for like the last 250 some years.
Right.
The Gutenberg press came out and that started like this mass exportation of information from power structures like the church or a kingdom, something like that. Like only kings, rulers, and clergy were exposed to written information for centuries, before the Gutenberg press came out. And then it became very affordable and very reasonable for people to be able to have books in their home. Like it was a huge thing. So
I can't remember who said it. I read it the one day. I should have screenshot it or saved it. They were like, the human mind isn't supposed to have all this, like we talked, the news, this information, what's going on in Congo, Australia, Europe. You have to know, but they just go, they fine tune it.
So what do you mean? Just the saturation of information is what you're talking about?
Bad news.
Yeah.
My roommate and I used to talk about at college. It's like, hey, do you want to put on the bad news and see what's happening?
Right.
And that's back when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. So I definitely, what sells a
Boy Scout didn't help somebody cross an old lady cross the road today.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
But the good news is not salacious, right?
Can't sell it.
Yeah. It's not something that the people are hungry for, right? Like people want to see, why do you watch a car race?
Watch cars go fast.
No, to watch them blow up on the side.
I don't know. I'm not into that.
But I know. But right. Like that. Why do you watch hockey? Right. You're a big hockey fan.
Yeah. See, my dad hated hockey because of the fights. I guess that's what's up. Some
nothing.
Oh,
she turned around. She did a full on Peter, and she just turned around and started looking at us.
Why I wanted to know? Why do you like hockey?
Push the button, dear.
See, you get sucked in.
If you want to make comment, love, just talk into the microphone.
Yeah, you can hit unmute. No, I liked hockey before my son played. He was young. It's just intense. It's fast.
Yeah, but if you were watching it like from home, you don't who cares?
Live
and then until
TV
somebody
doesn't do.
But somebody throws the gloves off, like that gets your blood pumping, huh?
It does a little bit. Like if somebody deserves it, if it's for theatrics or somebody trying to, just kind of an enforcer, some bullshit. I get it. But the game is so hard to play. If you
you have an appreciation for it, and I understand that.
And the talent and it's awesome.
But me watching it, the reason that they allow full physical contact and fights and things like that in hockey is because for the layman that hasn't played hockey on any level, like I would want to watch the fight.
Right.
That's the same ability. Like if you watch that on TV, you're like, I missed the shuffleboard competition essentially it's a shuffleboard competition. There's definitely skill and there's definitely things like
just
that.
The plays, how it comes together. And then you watch your son like when he's young and play, and it's just like, you're kind of excited. They're young, they're playing, they can skate. Wow, whatever. And then they get into the, double A, single A, whatever they're playing. And they're in high school and they actually, they're 18 years old. There's pros that are 18 and they can do the same thing, not on the same level, because when you go watch like a triple A or, a different team, it's just night and day, but it works, the game works, and they kind of put it all together. And there's not a lot of that, BS in high school hockey. I mean, it happens, but it's not crazy. It's just the speed of the game. I remember when he signed up for baseball, he wanted to try baseball. Some of his friends did it. It was like the third inning. He's like, how much longer do we have? I mean, there's no running clock. Yeah, he lost his mind. He couldn't, yeah.
It's boring.
It is.
There should be fist fights in baseball.
There should be something. Yeah.
Bat fights in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine two guys
just beating the out of each other? Yeah.
We get them the helmets with the face guards on, and they could just, they'd be like two knights.
But they fight like baseball players.
How's that?
When there is a fight, I mean, it's just kind of like, the pitcher hits you with the ball and they run out, and just haymakers flying everywhere.
Yeah. Not good.
No,
they're not trained to fight.
No,
they suck.
No.
So let's talk about the beer industry. What's happening in the beer industry?
It's slow. It rains every day.
That's kind of like
nationally, it's slow.
Yeah, it's kind of like the gun industry for the last couple of years has been slow and
yeah.
What do you like about the beer industry?
What do I like?
Or the alcohol industry? Is it the beer industry? You just
alcohol,
do
beer.
Same. You just do beer though.
Yeah,
You never worked like on the state store like level of
it's just
so in Pennsylvania we have
the liquor control board. They run everything. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not like it would be like where you can sell beer, liquor, wine, whatever in other states.
Yeah. At the freaking Circle K or the
wherever.
What is that? Casey's out in Iowa. Yeah, out in Iowa.
So what do I like about it?
Yeah. You've been in it for how long?
20
years.
Yeah.
What do you like about it, Peter?
Well, I like the social aspect of it. I was in sales before. It was, what I went to school for. In Western Pennsylvania, you're laid off. But I kind of like the sales, hey, it's beer sales. It's fun. And it really is if you do it right. I mean, there's a lot of people who come do beer sales. They drink on the job. They do stupid things, DUI, stuff like that. But it's the closest thing, I guess, would be to owning your own business. There's nobody to babysit me. I'm alone. I get up, I go to work, I do what I have to do, I check the boxes, I sell what I have to sell. And if you do well, and then some of the customers that I've had for 20 years, I mean, they're friends.
Yeah. But I mean, so like what's
there's
kind
a lot of freedom in the job.
For sure.
Some creativity on how you sell. Everybody sells different.
Yeah. So I guess I wasn't talking so strictly about your job as far as I was maybe asking, like maybe let me frame it a little bit differently. 20 years ago, kind of like the gun industry, there were way less manufacturers involved than there are now, for sure. Right.
And the
like
pricing.
2005 is 2005 gun world, like we were talking about earlier, was like Colt, Armalite, Bushmaster, Olympic
Glock,
Arms, DPMS, and that like 5. And now you can't turn a corner in a town without somebody building a stupid fucking rifle. You know what I mean? So how is that? Like, how have you seen that change in the beer industry? Is that like similar?
Yeah, it's flooded with all kinds of products. Nobody knows what the next, winner's going to be. High volume.
So that's like always what you're looking for.
Like the seltzers, when they came out big, everybody had a seltzer. Corona, White Claw, Truly, Bud, you name it. Every brewery had a seltzer. If you go around, there's maybe only 3 hanging around now. 4.
Really? That's interesting.
So they spent all that money and it kind of died off. And then the competition wise, whatever the number one selling light beer is or whatever, everybody's going to try to compete with that and say, low carb or whatever. That's another thing. Like with all this stuff, I don't know if it's an age thing. Some of these drinks they come out with, man, they ruin you. Not just like in terms of alcohol. Yeah. It's like you drink one, you got heartburn, acid reflux, just the stuff there. Yeah, I mean, they're fermenting them in anything and lactose. And,
the milk sours. Ooh, yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, I do like sours, but
I don't.
You pay for one, even a small glass. I mean, you're paying for that.
Yeah, like $13 to have spoiled beer to then
give
feel
you
bad
acid
about
reflux for the next 12 and you can't sleep.
Yeah, my joints hurt and I'm paranoid.
Inflammation.
Oh, I love it.
Well, then the other thing they're doing, they're putting certain recreational states, they're putting THC in drinks.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I think Boston Beer, I could be wrong, they bought a lot of stock in some different things, and
they're going to release something like that.
I don't know if they're going to, but all these breweries are kind of in.
You heard it first too. Here. Peter just cracked open the egg of the industry. I hope you don't get in trouble.
No,
for the 10 people that watch the podcast.
Yeah, hey, where's that weed beer, man? Yeah. But I think in Pennsylvania a couple years ago they had the stuff with the Delta 8 in it, and then the liquor control board is like, you can't have that here.
Yeah.
Because
certain people, his own dog.
Well, certain people didn't affect, and other people they were like, I thought I was going to have to take my wife to the hospital last night because they drank
She cut her ring finger off with my cigar cutter.
From drinking Delta 8 seltzer. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems slow. Everybody, nationally, I think it was 30%. People are kind of scrambling. Like, what do you do?
Yeah,
you're not creating new drinkers. If anything, like, they buy the 6-pack.
Yeah,
they don't, 30-pack.
Yeah,
it's kind of. And then in Pennsylvania, everything's kind of moving to convenience store, which I do, all the corporate stores and different things.
Yeah, so like that, the brew throughs are starting to die off or whatever.
And what people don't realize is like these, the good corporate stores, they only carry so many brands. Say they carry 30 different styles and brands. I'm just picking the number.
Sure.
And then a distributor, a privately owned one, it has 300. So, you go there to look for the oddball stuff.
Right.
The convenience stores and like grocery stores, corporate side, they want the stuff that turns. About every quarter, if it doesn't turn, they're put something else in.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. It seems like craft breweries kind of have tapered off.
They tapered off a lot because
and you're starting to see
that was a weird kind of cult following on some of that stuff.
Yeah. So you're starting to
drink
see less
local,
and less.
whatever, and it's like, well, that local product sucks. It's not good.
Yeah.
And then if a small craft brewery was good, it would get bought out for millions and millions of dollars by a big brewery, bigger brewery like Boston Beer or somebody would buy them out. And then a lot of these cork dorks would say, well, I'm not drinking. It's not local. It's, whatever. Well, it's still the same thing. So, they would sell out. They wouldn't drink it.
Interesting.
So that happens. And then if something's popular, everybody tries to recreate that and then say, oh, it's less sugar, less calories, less whatever. But it's hard to break that person from their brand.
Do you think that all this stuff going on with the MAHA movement, the Make America Healthy Again movement, do you think that's going to negatively impact your the beer stuff? Like, are there a lot of additives? I guess I don't really. There's not really a label like on what.
No, they fought that a lot, especially the craft beers fought that because their calorie counts on some of their beers are huge.
Yeah, so there's like not a nutritional guide like on the back of beer. So like you don't really know what's going on inside of that can, essentially.
No, I mean like your light beers that kind of market that, hey, we only have 90 calories or X amount of carbs. Yeah, but the craft breweries don't want that on there.
Yeah, so like but like what have you heard anything about like people getting their balls in a vice because now they're not going to be able to use XYZ thing in their product?
Nothing. No, well, I listened. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. Non-alcs are huge right now.
Okay.
Craft breweries are even making non-alcs that taste like their, IPAs and stouts and different things.
Interesting.
No alcohol. And I heard that the Kennedy, they were going to get rid of the 2 drinks, for a male a day?
Well,
2 drinks and 1 for a woman. They're not going to say 1 or 2. They're just going to say it's kind of, moderate drinking.
It's bad.
No, they're just moderation.
What's moderation?
I don't know. What is it? Yeah. So, who knows? And then in that same report, they also mentioned that like that's the 3rd leading cause of cancer is alcohol consumption.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not good.
But I came from a family with a lot of drinkers and alcohol never really killed them.
Are you sure?
More like the cigarettes.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Well, yeah. I mean, they lived into their 80s. If I can make it there, I'll be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess anything of too much of anything can kill you, right? Like this, so it is moderation with everything,
right?
So,
but it's it's fun. The business is fun.
Yeah.
No,
I just
and you talked about the local pubs and stuff with Brian. I go to some. They're fun.
Yeah, I mean, you do see a lot of like bars and things like that close up shop, and there's not
DUIs,
not as much.
Anywhere from $7,500 to $10,000 you're dropping if you get one.
Yeah.
So when those signs that say you can't afford it, I mean, you can't.
Right.
You can't. You don't want one.
So it's definitely when one of those things. I'm watching the screen over here, and like I'll finish up talking, and then she's like, "Cut it on you," and then vice versa. So
she's screwing up.
Well, because she keeps turning around wanting to just listen.
You want to chime in or something?
No, I think she just wants to just watch whatever we're doing. So
I get stuck on that too.
Yeah,
because I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm just
Well, yeah. So what firearm are you like most interested in these days? Like, what things do you see coming out on the market that you're really, really interested in?
I'd have to give you a quick history. Well, I grew up. We talked about it earlier. We talked about it earlier today. That when I grew up, I mean, there were guns in the corner of the house. Some were loaded, some weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody went to school, shot anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in high school, I remember some of the teachers were big hunters and stuff. Like, where are you boys going hunting after school? We had guns in the car.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything.
Mm-hmm.
People redid their stocks and wood shop and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy. But I mean, I like some of the older stuff. I know you bought some off me. I kept some. I guess basic, just good quality things that work.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like what I'm into.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the new stuff's neat, but would I use it?
Right. I think we're like, maybe sometimes we grasp for straws in the industry to say like, oh, this is innovation. Well, is it really innovation, or are you just like trying to make up a problem to solve it?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Like I feel like that's a lot of what goes on is like we decide that, okay, this is a problem, but it really isn't, but we've solved it.
Right.
Here's the next thing that we didn't just,
like the Thunder Ranch class. Some of those guys came, not picking on them, but they had more shit hanging on their gun. It's like, where do you even grab the fore end?
Yep. For sure.
Lights and different things. And I think it was an O light or some weird thing.
Yeah. So simplicity is really good. And like this can get into a whole, like we can lead into a whole nother conversation just about the fact that like, I think, the modern, warfighter or whatever you want to talk about isn't going to be carrying a rifle and a pistol anymore. Like, I think they're very much just going to be dependent on, drone warfare and things that basically take the human element. I mean, the human's still going to be the target, but the human element of me shooting at you anymore is it was dying in the Iraq-Afghanistan war, and it's just been accelerated kind of into it's like, all right, you look at Tel Aviv and Tehran, right? Like you look at those two, you look at Israel and you look at Iran right now, those two states, like they have the ability, they have tanks and jets and things like that.
They could go balls out.
That they could just, invade each other's territory, or somebody could invade, but are they doing that?
Not yet.
They probably won't.
No.
It's all drones. It's all drones and missiles that they can shoot.
A lot of people get killed doing that too.
100%. I mean, the human aspect is still the target, but the human interaction of me versus you, like shooting at each other, that's like going bye-bye real quick. So, so there's no new gun designs that you're like really intrigued with at the moment, huh?
No, I don't know if I'm setting my ways or what. I always carried a Glock.
Mm-hmm.
They're my favorite pistol. I carry a SIG now because it's easier to carry. But I mean, just the Glock's always worked.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I like a lot of guns out there, but it doesn't. I mean, some of these ones I haven't pulled out of the safe, touched, or anything.
What, in your opinion, what's your grail gun? Like one of the things that you would just like love to have, love to find and have. It doesn't have to be new. It's just anything that's just always been on Peter's bucket list.
I always wanted an HK MP5 full auto transferable that I could never afford. Because I shot a lot of those.
That's an expensive thing.
Yeah,
for
that was great.
Something that you could actually find though.
That I actually can find.
Yeah.
I would say I probably didn't really think about it.
Come on, Peter.
I don't know, Lily. What do I want?
No, you don't look at her.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She doesn't know it. No, he's got another one on order. He's already got one.
Yeah, I'm already stressing
out
about that one.
Yeah. He's already got one on order.
I mean, I like those. I mean, they shoot really well. They're reliable. The craft,
kind of like.
I mean, just like Brian was looking at one the other day. He's like, "Hey, would you buy this?" You know how he gets pumped up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You're gonna drop almost $2,000 on this thing. It sounds like a baby rattle for another 1,800.
Yeah.
And just how they're just fit and just the slide, even when you lower it home, just the metal on metal, it sounds different. It's just even from some of the other ones you have in there. I don't
100%.
Yeah, it's just unreal how nice they are.
It is great that an American craftsman like that is does so well. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of cool stuff. I think next month is going to be really interesting to see if we can get the big beautiful bill passed through the Senate and have Trump sign it. And that's going to be a huge thing with suppressors being taken off and now short barrel shotguns and rifles. So well that goes through. What's the first thing that you do?
Saw all my barrels out.
We're gonna go to Harbor Freight.
See what's that? Yeah. I remember I think I was 24 when I got my first SBR. I waited like 12 months or whatever for it. And then that was when the Brady bill was still in. So I couldn't have, the stock was fixed.
Oh, really?
You have the barrel here where the muzzle flash was still on.
Yeah.
It had one of the short stocks on it.
Yeah.
So, and then the Brady bill expired. So I put, a threaded barrel and everything else. Yeah. So
what are you going to do the first day though? Like there's nothing that you've really wanted that you're like, oh, like
things that I really wanted
tiny when I was one of those, what are those things called? The little door breacher, 870s.
No.
You don't want one of those?
No.
Fold up in your pocket.
No. I mean, there was some cool stuff. It was like when I was younger and couldn't afford it. And then when traveling around playing hockey that I have now. It's just to keep it simple, stupid, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's some bolt action rifles I wouldn't mind.
Putting the chop to.
No, not putting the chop.
Just buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a couple other ones.
Like what?
The Bergara I wouldn't mind getting. Like the one they had at who the hell was here with the suppressors? Great.
Dead Air.
Dead Air.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one here.
Was it all chopped down?
No.
I can't remember.
But it was pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that one I bought from you, I got that to shoot really good. Yeah.
That thing shoots awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great guns. So, yeah. All right. Well, we kind of like expired our time already, right? We're at 34, 35, unless you got something else you want to talk to me about.
No.
This is like your big opportunity. This is your big opportunity.
What do you want to talk about?
Dude, that's what I'm giving you.
You want to pick on me on you on?
No, yeah. I don't want to pick on you. It's not going to pick on you. Go ahead, speak it into the microphone though.
Take it off mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speak into the microphone.
Goes along with.
Speak into the microphone. Don't look at me and just speak into the mic.
It goes along with the politics. So sorry, Peter.
You're good.
I just have been seeing recently this big beautiful bill and these public lands being for sale. Do either of you know what's going on there? Because I don't understand it.
So they're saying it's a land grab, which it's kind of funny because maybe I have a little bit different. I didn't grow up out west. We don't really have public lands here in Pennsylvania. That's like not something that we do, right?
Like game lands.
Yeah, but parks, that's kind of what they're talking about is like these big, huge like swaths of land. And it's like they're gonna put them up for bid for mineral contracts and stuff like that. So like I don't know.
Doesn't the federal government have a huge? They have a ton of land.
Yeah, they have just a huge monstrosity of land, and like it really needs to be in the private citizen's
I agree.
hands. Like it needs to be in the private citizen's
hands. Not foreign, but
yeah, no, not foreign, but people here in America, you should be able to go out and buy some of that stuff. That's my opinion. And people will be like, oh, there's no place to hunt. Dude, there are thousands and thousands of acres and thousands of acres of private and public land that you can go hunt, that you can still go camp at. The places that people are talking about, they're not going into Yosemite and giving up Old Faithful.
Right.
Please stop that misnomer that you guys
do that,
are morons.
Yeah, they do that to stress you out and say, oh, I'm against it now because they're going to do that. No, they're not.
Yeah, there is tons of barren wasteland out there. Not barren wastelands, but beautiful wasteland that is not being used or utilized for anything.
And you might not even want to live there. I mean, some of it's pretty rough.
Yeah. So I don't know. My opinion is the government owns all this land. If they're going to give up some of it, that's a good thing. Yeah. Guys, that's a good thing. Like, that's a good thing.
The Midwest, they own a ton of land out
there. It's more Western. It's like more Western to like past Kansas and that. There's like just huge swaths of just open government land that they own and control. Yeah. Private citizens should own and control that. Sorry, guys. I don't, sell it off. Who cares, right? Like, you don't want the government owning more than they already do. You want your taxes lower. Guess what? They're going to have to sell off land so they don't have to take care of it.
You can
maintain it. Yeah.
They can tax you on it.
Well, maybe.
Right.
But that's the thing that's going down. So as far as I know, I haven't watched it all that much just because, like I said, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, just sell it off. Let some corporation mine whatever, make us gazillionaires over here, find some big oil reserve somewhere. I don't care. But that's me. But they're not gonna turn Yosemite into some place. No. There's just we're talking like places that you've never been, I'll never be, your kids will never go to. Like,
nobody will want to go there. Nobody wants to.
No, there's like, and then we don't have like people having to do what they're doing around here, which sucks. Is all these solar freaking fields, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather have that on.
Do you see how high the grass is?
It's probably stupid, isn't it?
Oh, it's right up to the. It's right. It's starting to fold over from underneath.
Well, that'll be great.
Are they going to cut that? Spray that?
Probably spray it. Give us all cancer.
How are they going to spray it?
Drones.
Will it go all over the solar panels?
I don't know. Those, the solar panels that aren't going to be, in 20 years, they're going to be obsolete, and then being absorbing the sun's radiation for the last 20 years is not going to be any kind of poisonous effect. Bullshit.
Did your electric bill go down?
I don't know.
No. Well,
is yours?
No.
Oh, okay.
Right.
We're on a zero some zero, but we got some really nasty fucking panels just hanging out in the middle of our beautiful fields now.
You see, that's what we were talking about, having arguments. My old supervisor, he'd ride with you on your route and say, oh man, that's so cool. They're so neat. All these, I'm like, I'd rather look at the rolling corn growing or the hay or whatever.
Exactly. But there's like remote locations.
But I got to look at this shit
every day. There's remote locations that people will never ever see or drive by
that and the wind.
Yeah.
The more I read about that wind's a joke.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb as hell. Yeah. Solar's good for like if
20 years.
If something shits the bed at your house, the apocalypse, you can charge your battery or
I'm
something.
all for that. Yeah.
Camping. Yeah. It works great.
Put them on your roof.
Yeah.
Put them on your roof.
You don't have to tattoo the shit out of 500 acres.
No, that's dumb. You guys that are doing that, that's dumb. You're dummies.
So.
China's going to own you. The end. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us this week. You guys have a good week, and we'll see you back here next week.